Welcome back, Rednecks on Comics. I'm Daniel.
I'm Mark.
David.
First of all, I want to apologize for our technical difficulty on last issue or episode. We was trying something new for y'all, and it just didn't work out. So we're just going to stick with our original plan. So we'll start with David again. He's doing Daredevil #1, and we'll let him take it from there.
All right, appreciate it. Wanted to do something different this week. I've done DC for the past few weeks, so I picked another character that I really like, and figured this Daredevil #1 would be a good jumping in point. It goes on with the legacy continuing from the original Daredevil #1, so this is actually issue number 613. But this one goes into a little more detail on some of the religious thinking of Matt Murdock and why he does some of the things he does to the villains, the criminals, all these different people, and he tries to rationalize some of it through religion, and goes through, not really another origin story, but more of a background building story for this next few issues. And the book started out, a nice even read all the way through. Art was good. Nothing on the par that we had last week. But the art was good. The story was really good on it. No real surprises as far as this. Like I said, it's more of a background building issue. And you see some of the things he had just got back from an accident, and Daredevil had been gone for a while, and this is catching everybody up onto what it should be, and where everything is with Mayor Fisk in this one now. And so it don't really get into a lot of the Fisk, the way he manipulates behind the scenes most of the time. There's more Daredevil and the Priest. Like I said, good starting point. If you're going to jump in to Daredevil, this would be a really good place to go. You're not missing anything. You get to start right back on a fresh story, and it's a good read. Good read.
Now, Matt, he's a dedicated Catholic.
Yes.
So, and that's what it's kind of.
Yeah, it's goes into him trying to convince himself that he is kind of doing the Lord's work as far as taking on and doing away with some of these criminals, putting them in the hospital or whatever needs to be done.
Well, he's kind of got the Batman mentality where no killing
Correct.
is involved. So.
Correct. He will beat the crap out of them, but he won't kill them unless it's something that they bring on themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, very much along the same lines as that.
Daredevil's always been a good classic character. Would you rate this book in with some of the older issues? Would it compare with them, or
it would compare? This is a good one, like I said, for somebody that hasn't been with Daredevil for a while. This will bring you up to speed, but it does harken back to a lot of the older stories. Just nice, simple. There's the bad guys, take them out, and deal with the consequences later.
because some of my favorite runs with Daredevil were the Punisher crossovers,
Right.
and that was always a good play between the two, because Punisher didn't care to kill whoever he came in contact with, and Daredevil was opposed to that
Yeah.
at every turn.
Yeah, and one of the things in this one that he gets into is, like I said, there had been an accident and he had been out of commission for a while, and he's got some ring rust that he's trying to overcome, and he gets into a mental conversation with himself about what he'd done before and what the shape he was in now, and how he's going to have to step up his game.
Yeah. Now it's a Daredevil 1, but it's a continuing of the Legacy run of
Right.
6. What was it?
613 is
Okay.
the actual number of issues.
Now, say somebody's just picking this run up on #1, and they know a little bit of backstory. Does it give how Fisk became mayor, or is it just
Not
kind of
yet.
Okay.
Not yet. This is Fisk being mayor was back in the regular legacy section
Okay.
on it. But like I said, with this storyline as it goes on, it's going to delve more into what how he got the.
And I've got to give Marvel credit for that. Even though they
Yeah.
started a bunch of runs at number one, they did put the legacy run in there, in some kind of smaller letters, I believe,
Yeah.
so you can keep it in continuance of what it went. So I have to give them props for that. That's the only thing I'll give Marvel props for. Amazing, but
Now, I know back in the day, and this is a little off topic to what we're talking about, but did you hear that Marvel's canceling all the X titles?
I've heard that. I've not really got into the reasoning why. I don't know if it's got anything to do with them reacquiring from Fox and wanting to start anew, or if the books were just selling that bad and they want to try something else.
The new writer that has picked up on the books is saying that he wants to start it fresh from his perspective, and he wants to bring the X-Men back to the prominence that they were back in the late 80s, early 90s. Remains to be seen in my eyes as to whether that can be done or not.
well, that's
because
big
that was-
shoes to
yeah.
fill because in
Yeah.
the '80s, X-Men was
Yeah.
they dealt with everything, racism and
Yeah.
culture, the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, Black Hammer. But that's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
Big shoes to fill.
Well, and to step in and believe enough in yourself that you can replace Claremont
Right.
as the writer of the books is saying something about the man's self-confidence
Yeah.
anyway.
And so
But there's a fine line between self-confidence and cocky too.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and the early '90s and everything, you had X-Men explosion everywhere. Cartoons, movies.
I'd say that was
they
a
were
staple.
king of-
Yeah, that was a staple to
that was their best selling.
Yeah.
That and Spider-Man back then were the best ones. But sometimes they did cross over with Daredevil, and so if they're going to totally reboot the X-Men, how are they going to account for that in some of these crossover books?
Well, I know that one of the new titles that they're bringing out as a short run is called The Power of 10. 10 is the X Roman numeral, so that leads me to believe that they're taking it back down to 10 base characters.
Well, even if they continue with these, they're not too high. Any of them, really, are they?
No.
I mean, into their number one runs. you
Right.
know.
They're when they redid the others, they're in the 20s now, maybe on some of them.
So they still have a little bit of room to wiggle
Yeah.
with there.
Well, yeah, but you just rebooted them less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But like I said, if they start with the power of 10, then that could be just the 10 main characters that
Yeah.
they're
Because
going to deal with.
I think 50% at one time of the Marvel roster were mutants.
But other than Wolverine, are they really crossing any of the characters over to the other comics right now? I don't see Beast or Gambit or anybody really.
Well, Gambit's in Mr. and Mrs. X with Rogue.
Yeah, but again, that's still an X-Men kind of.
Yeah, and I believe that title itself will probably go away because they said they're going to take the entire X universe, they're going to cancel them all, and start over fresh.
Yeah. So they may have to go back and do like this and do legacy numbers on them, reboot it, and
Well, no, if they couldn't do legacy numbers because it wouldn't be a
that's it.
continuality of it.
yeah.
But let's get back to that. And what would you do the artwork? I mean, not to
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would say artwork on this one. Like I said, the last couple I've had have been phenomenal artwork. This one, nice artwork, nothing spectacular that jumps out at you. I would say a good 6.5 to a 7. All right. Storyline 7, something like that. Like I said, a good base story. Doesn't give up a lot of information, but a good basic jumping in point. At the end of it, you definitely want to see the next book because it does start to bring in the Wilson Fisk character. So I'd say, like I said, 6.5 so on the art, 7 on the story.
Age range?
Age range, any age range.
Okay.
The only thing you're going to have on there is the violence of the fights.
Is it pretty
Well-
bloody, or is it?
No. As far as that, the only thing that there may, as far as younger, there is a section on there where Daredevil and a woman meet in a bar and go back to his place, but it's just one
Yeah.
little page thing on it.
So
Nothing
we'll say
explicit.
teens and parents
Yeah.
use their discretion.
Yeah, I would say PG-13
Okay.
on it. But that would be the only thing. Would be that you are going to have the people where it does deal with religion
Yeah.
and his philosophy on it that may buck a little bit, but
Well, anybody who knows anything about, unless they're just new to comics, I mean, I don't read Daredevil, but I know he's a devout, Catholic and everything. So, I mean, that's just kind of history to the comics.
Yeah.
And I want to say right now, we're not trying to persuade anybody to buy these for their kids. You can use your discretion at it. We all have kids, grandkids. Some of us, old man. But no, in all seriousness, we're just giving our point of view. So before you let the kid have it, you read it and see if it's all right with you.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah,
we're just
I agree.
giving our honest opinion. But everybody's got opinions. But we appreciate you. That was a good review on it.
no problem. I enjoyed reading the book. It was a good, refreshing read to catch back up on it when I hadn't caught up on it in a while. So I was.
Well, it's like Mark said, Daredevil's just a classic character.
Classic.
A good guy, just trying to do the right thing, messes up time to time.
Yeah.
Human.
Very much human. Very much.
And for the fact that he's doing all that blind by using like a radar that he developed,
Yeah.
it's just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it, Dave.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, next up, Black Hammer. And I asked everybody to pay attention to his shirt. He's really wanting to pop it out there. He's like, move Hulk, so everybody can see my shirt. So we just moved him so everybody can see his shirt. That work for you, Black Hammer?
Indeed. Well, I mean, this is just the first of many to come.
Yeah.
Because we also, gotta remember, we got the Red Knocks on Comic t-shirts coming. Y'all be looking for the merchandise. It's coming. And it's pretty sweet, if I say so myself. I like it. Indeed. It's gonna be good. So hopefully we'll have those out next week. And
Sounds good.
maybe we can sell a few at the Dragon's Mountain. Be nice.
Yeah, working on some decals. I meant to tell you, I got a woman who's going to try to make some logos for stick on logos for decals. So we're trying to get some merchandise built up for y'all. You're going to be reviewing.
I'm doing the Amazing Spider-Man #1, but this is Symbiote #1.
Okay.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Symbiote is actually Venom. Well, the first symbiote you kind of get introduced to, and this is Venom on Spider-Man's suit. But either way, beyond that point, it actually opens up really good. You get with Spider-Man and Mysterio. Very, he's not a really high villain in my book. But I like him.
Well, he's making it into the next movie.
Yeah, he made it into the movies. Shocking, but he did.
And there's
But,
Cody's review on Mysterio or whatever his name is. Mysterio.
Mysterio. Well,
Booyah.
like jumping into the story though, it's actually really nice to jump on putting it on the pull list. If that says anything off the back. It's a good read. It caught me from the beginning. The artwork was okay. It was really good. It was really nice. Like I said, I'm still really starting to appreciate good artwork after reading Aquaman.
And again, you're welcome.
Thank you. Again, Aquaman sucks. But as far
I
as,
endorse that message.
as far as this actually in a different side of things. It's opening up not to Black Cat and Spider-Man, but more of Peter Parker. Peter Parker. Welcome to New York, everybody. Peter Parker.
You really got into that comic book, didn't you?
Right, man.
Well,
Silence.
thank you.
But it's opening up to a little bit more of his love life and what's going on behind the scenes with him, which is something different to finding, in a hero comic for me. It really did catch my eye. I was excited to learn about some of the stuff going on. But what it breaks into is you get to see something crazy happen in Mysterio's life that kind of makes him start to turn a new leaf until symbiote Spider-Man goes crazy on him. But I mean, I don't want to give too much away. It's number one. It's a really great read. The artwork's okay. I like it. I'm trying to think of anything. I mean, because being a number one, it's more of a backstory. So there's really not much you can say on like the terms of all it was action packed. It was this and that. But as far as it was a good backstory to start something out with.
Good building block.
It is a very good building block. I am looking forward to reading number 2. And as you were saying, they just started the series, so this is a good point to jump on.
It's just up to number 2, as a matter of fact, and there's
Yeah,
a
we
Battle
did that.
Lines variant cover.
Yeah, the number 2 just came out, what, a week ago?
Yeah, we did that. It actually got a cover of the week, didn't it?
It was up for cover.
Oh, it didn't make it.
Blaze voted on it.
Yes, freaking tech guy. But I mean, I look forward to reading it. Flipping
Tech guy. Get her out.
tech guy. You called me Black Lightning earlier, right? You talk about getting someone's name right. It's on my shirt.
I about said something that got me kicked off, but we go there. I'm gonna say it anyways. They all look the same.
If your butt hurt, turn off.
Right now,
It's
you know,
happening.
rewind it, then turn it off.
Speaking on race, no one here is racist, even though it's
No,
rednecks on Congress.
no, we ain't.
We're not racist. We all love each other. Sometimes, I think. I don't know.
I love you, man. You're my brother from another mother and father. I love you.
And for some of y'all who don't know, I basically consider Cody to be my son-in-law. So, you know, he's a member of my family all the way
Doggy gang
around.
sign.
It's not a gang sign.
The Mark gang sign.
Mount City. It's,
What was it Tony said? No gang signs, please. Tony Stark.
sorry about the face. David just showed me a picture. It says Conway Fitty. Yo! Artwork 10. Artwork.
Hello, darling. Welcome to the candy shop.
Would you like a lollipop? Back to the comic book.
Yeah, let's get back to the book.
Ebony and ivory.
Makes me. But as far as read, I'd probably give the read an 8 because, like I said, it's a very interesting backstory. It's a different side of Peter Parker, Spider-Man that I've not really looked into. I mean, because as far as Spider-Man goes, aside from the movies, I know not a lot about Spider-Man. I have a Spider-Man Superman crossover. That's about as far as I've gotten into reading anything Spider-Man. So for being my first Spider-Man, it's really nice. I liked it. It kind of changed my outlook on Spider because in my eyes, you know.
Yeah, well, you know,
know,
you got a
it's-
teenage boy. That's what you know.
Yeah,
but
he's
then
superpowered.
he turns into a man.
No,
so,
in this
you
one,
know.
this is not him as a teenage boy either. This is him as a man.
Yeah.
This is grown up Peter Parker.
So you got your man in tights. That's y'all.
Yeah, got men in tights all day. It's my thing.
It's your thing. Yes, I got
But
that.
artwork, I'd probably give it about a 7
Okay.
overall. Probably an 8 because, like I said, you know, the story really does help pull the artwork along. Not that artwork is bad. It's just, you know, this is a backstory. It's not something I really like action-packed comic books. I like action. Any man minus the flipping tech guy who lacks testosterone likes to see anything action.
He's just stubby.
Very.
Well, one thing, I try to keep up with it because that's my son's favorite, and that's what his collection's all about. One thing I found that I like about Peter Parker is his sense of humor. Because even when it looks really bad for him, he don't lose the sense of humor.
No.
He's always been a smart aleck.
Now this book does bring some humor to it because I was sitting there reading and I started chuckling because I will give away one thing. You get Mysterio. He's been planning this big bank robbery. You know, that's, you know, it's rank B kind of. You know, it's like, you know, bank robbery, funny, well, whatever. Well, he goes in and you see, it kind of reminds me of Batman. You know, Batman with Jack Nicholson, where, you know, put on this mask, right? Well, you have a scene like that where he gives the mask to a woman. You know, she opens up the box and he's like, put this on now. And then here comes Mysterio with his amazing green fart man, you know, fart cloud of green gassy goodness. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's what it reminds me of. And everyone passes out, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, who are you?" And he's like, "I am your worst nightmare." And she's like, "You're me taking a test I didn't study for, butt naked." And I was just like, "Yes." And then he's like, "Just open the vault." So it was very comical, and then you get some more comedy from Peter Parker, and then from Aunt May, she makes a great appearance, you know. So yeah, it's comical. It's got a little bit of action, not much. It's not over the edge. It leaves you, like I'm saying, I really want to read number 2. I want to see what's coming up because it's caught me. It's pulled me in, and like I said, I'm just not jumping. It's the series starting. It's number 1 now. I got number 2 out, so I'm like, yo, I can jump on this. I would recommend it to any age group, minus the violence. Like I said, like we said, that's all parental.
Well, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he's always been a good moral character.
Yeah.
Yes.
He really has.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Again, that's the reason I picked that, and well, Billy picked it, but I went along with it for his first comic collection. Again, he's 4, he ain't reading.
I got my daughter Wonder Woman for the first.
She's a good moral character.
Yeah.
So if they're just now reading,
My son got
that would be a
Spawn.
good one. You're sick, man.
I like Spawn.
Shame on you.
That's what I started on. Well, no, I started on Batman, but then
Yeah.
Spawn just kind of blew up,
Well,
and I was like, ooh.
Hey, like I say, with each their own. You do what you think is right by your own. We don't judge.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I recommend this book to anybody really that looking for something different in your arsenal. Like I said, it's very slow, but it's very good.
And that's, Peter, like I say, Spider-Man, he's, for a newcomer, he's a good character. And for somebody who's been into comics forever, he's still a good character.
Yeah. Like I say, another good classic character like Daredevil.
Yeah.
Complex character at times. Overwritten with the whole angst thing at times. But
Super punny.
yeah, when Spider-Man is well written, it's a good book.
Yeah. And he's one of, like, the godfathers of comics.
Yeah.
You can't think comics without thinking of a handful of characters, and he's in that handful of characters.
That's Stan Lee's golden boy right there. In all things, R.I.P. Stan Lee. Gang signs. But and another thing too, just being different for me is I love DC.
Yeah.
Not big on Marvel, so therefore I was never big on Spider-Man. But I like where this is going.
Well, I was a big Marvel fan to begin with. After this guy's pollution to my mind, no, Marvel just disappointed me several times. DC hasn't yet, so.
Exactly.
It's just. But anyways, we won't get on that one. That's a different episode. But we thank you, Black Hammer.
Anytime. Appreciate it, guys. Look for the merch, guys.
It's
Coming
coming.
soon.
Here comes Indy.
Yeah, Indy.
He's got a new book from Top Secret Press.
We want to give a little bit of backstory to that one before we get started.
Top Secret Press is an independent company that you have to order directly from them still yet. We were fortunate enough to get a few of their books in as preview books, and let's see what Indy thought about it.
First and foremost, this is actually a very good read, and it's not really more of the basic comic format. This actually draws a lot more inspiration from the tales of H.P. Lovecraft, the creator of the Cthulhu mythos, the other entity gods of Yog-Sothoth, pretty much the creator of the cosmic horror elder entities.
Do you understand anything?
I know, sir. He had me lost when he said, first and foremost, then bam, I was gone.
I'm sorry if I have a higher education than you.
Education. I'm sorry you have lack of taste when it comes to comics, but hey, we'll go somewhere else.
But, this pulls straight from it. Like, they refer to the Necronomicon in this. They go to set locations that H.P. Lovecraft has actually talked about, characters he has talked about.
Well, for people dumb like me,
Okay.
when it comes to that anyways, who's these people you're talking about?
Pretty much the main character, Elizabeth Betty.
Well, the H.P. Lovecraft?
H.P. Lovecraft. He is the author that inspired Stephen King, Anne Rice, Clive
Now,
Barker.
when you said Stephen King, I feel like crap because I'm a big Stephen King fan. But
Yeah, you should.
yeah,
But no,
It about disappeared.
yeah, no. H.P. Lovecraft, for the longest time, he actually did go underappreciated. He constantly wrote stories, released them to actual magazine publications, and they paid him like horror things you can't describe. These absolute horrific monstrosities that live in this realm we can't even comprehend, and just even seeing one or even being around the presence of one will drive somebody mad, psychotic, maybe even kill themselves. And this is pulling a lot of inspiration from that, because like I said, they refer to one character from the Dunwich Horror, a story from his called Wheatley, and the woman even says, well, those are made up stories from him, how is this real? And the guy that's actually with her does say a story can still be based off of some facts. And
So they're actually bringing the writer into the comic.
yes, in this first one, because it kind of stops that story halfway through and develops into a second part of it.
Just not.
You're just not your head.
Yeah,
Completely lost.
I'm
ain't ya?
lost. I hate to say it, and I'm glad that these is out there because
Yeah.
people like you. I mean, nothing against you. Just certain
Oh, yeah.
people like that kind of stuff.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
this,
one
this
of them,
is
but
straight and foremost a horror
Yeah.
story. I mean, there is decrepit bodies, zombies in this. There are creatures that are just nothing but tentacles and mouths spewing out like cosmic radiation and everything in it. And just a guy with psychic powers and a woman
Yeah,
that has
his family.
witchcraft taking care of it.
now I have to give it credit. It did teach us a new word.
Which one?
The Pete, or wasn't it Pete? What was it? I can't remember. I didn't say I kept it in mind, but I did look it up for you. You was asking if it was right.
the
Yeah,
peat,
it's
yes. Yes, the peat word, when he was referring to in his story smelling the peat and decay in the swamp and everything, because I at first thought it was a typo of like, do you mean meat? And we looked it up and it's an actual word that we didn't even know. So, I at least learned something today reading the book.
What would you say the artwork?
The artwork is actually solid throughout, but it's not really high tier. It's like a good, solid 8.
Pretty hot tier.
I mean, it's not like a 9. It's not like I'm saying, oh, this is a Greg Capullo or Jim Lee artwork. But, I mean, this is still solid throughout. Jim Lee and Greg Capullo would be 10s, in my opinion, okay?
Okay, I agree with you there.
So, this is an 8, so this is nowhere near that 10 scale.
Yeah, but there's a long way from 8 to 0 too.
Did you remember seeing the inside of
Yeah.
Black Devil's dog? Okay.
But when you have a guy reading it to you, it is awesome. You didn't have to look at the pictures, and you got the voice. It was sweet. But anyways, the storyline.
The storyline's solid, and I, the same exact way, I would give it an 8. I would actually like to see where this goes, because this was actually issue 1 that they were nice enough to send to us. I hope maybe we can make a deal with them to where we can pull at least this story out for me, because this is right up my alley.
Well, are you going to be ordering?
I believe that we have discussed it, and we were going to go off Jonathan's recommendation here as to whether or not we were going to continue with it. And if he wants it brought in, there are other people out here just like him. So
That's a scary thought.
I'm pulling a mark. That was good.
yeah, because I partially saw that too. So that's both.
Oh, bless Mark's heart, he's not good at showing emotions. So when you see him do this, he thinks that is funny as crap. But anyways, I missed the storyline, but we won't go there. So you will be
I believe we will.
okay. All right. So if that seems like something you're interested in, like I say, everybody's got their own taste. If that's your taste, your local comic shop don't carry it. Hit up Green Dragon. They'll be more than glad to send it to you.
Top Secret Press. What was the title of the book?
Wicked Betty, Betty Wicked. It's one of the two.
Hey, Lord here.
Betty Wicked.
Yeah, Betty Wicked. Wicked.
Wicked Betty. Yeah. I mean, it's an awesome book.
She looks wicked.
If this video gets 100 likes, I will personally buy Black Devil's Die issues 2 and 3 and review them on the channel.
I'm telling y'all, if you missed that review that he had on the first one, that was the funniest crap I'd ever seen in my life. Dumpster fire, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes. I may have started dumpster fire, but I want to burn the whole dumpster.
We will call this the Dumpster Fire Challenge.
Yes.
So.
Dumpster fire challenge, 100 likes and 2 reviews.
We got 0. Nobody likes it. What have you done? All right, no, John, we appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, guys.
We got Professor Terry coming up.
Yeah,
next.
Professor Terry. Oh, shoot, hand me my phone. Do you remember the question? Do you remember the question? All right, we got Professor Terry. We did have a question that was put on YouTube for us. I forgot the question, so we're going to have to take a minute to look it up. While I'm looking it up, we did have a guy that wanted to know if Brightburn, the movie that's coming out, had ever been a comic. I looked it up, done a little research myself. Apparently, they was going to put one out at a San Diego Comic Con and decided not to. But I thought it might be an interesting idea if we all know it's going to be like a Superman turned bad.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that a Superman Red Sun would be the closest version to that. I said version. What would you think?
Having not read that in so long, Superman Red Sun, there's a lot of examples. And if you remember the Elseworlds story, Superman the Dark Side, where he lands on Apokolips and gets raised by all people Dark Side. But at the end, he's not such a bad guy. His morals take over. Of course, injustice comes to mind. Something caused him to be that way, so he really wasn't evil from the begin with. The closest I can come with an evil Superman like Brightburn would have to be Ultraman from the Crime Syndicate from Earth 3. He's just flat out evil from the beginning. That's about as close as I could get to that. When I think about an evil Superman that's just pure evil from the start.
All right. So you say that one would be the closest
To me, that would be.
All right. Well, here's the question. It's coming from Michael Ferguson. I guess that's Joshua, ain't it? He says, I got a question to try to stump Terry. LOL. Now, this question comes from a comic I read and also watch a review about, but here it goes. In one of the Marvel Comics storylines, the Fantastic Four meet the one above.
One above all.
Yeah, the one above all. I had to wait till it's open. The one above all. Who do they find sitting there? Who does the one above all represent?
Well, it's Fantastic Four 5'10" or 5'11", I believe, and they're searching an audience with the one above all because they're trying to get the soul of Ben Grimm back, who stays dead in comics after all, right? So they fall through space and time, and they come across this rock floating in space with a wooden door in it. So they have no idea what they're going to find when they go in there. And they go through this door, and they find this modest den with a middle-aged man, working at his drawing board. And it's none other than the late, great Jack Kirby, who is the co-creator of the Fantastic Four.
Alrighty. Well, Joshua, there's the answer. We hope you agree with it, because we're pretty sure that he's right. But there was another question I was going to ask you while I had you here. Jonathan, you remember what it was?
I can think of it. I'll think of it. What's something else you would like to discuss.
There was the whole dealing with the controversy of the
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cortez comic.
Oh, yeah.
DC came out today that they're putting a cease and desist order on one of the independent. I won't mention the name. One of the independent companies that Cortez.
Cortez. Or whatever
Yeah,
his name is.
they're coming out with comic fair. One of the covers was her as Wonder Woman. You know, didn't set well with
Yeah.
DC, which I don't blame them.
No, I don't either. It's the first I've heard of it.
You know,
We discussed this earlier.
I know that Marvel has dipped into the political scenes, you know, more than I can remember. But I can't remember if DC ever done it. Does DC ever dip into the?
Well, I heard that Barack Obama was an issue of Superman.
Okay.
Before. Didn't read that one myself, but
Yeah.
they dabbled in it some. But it seems like Marvel's going a lot more.
Yeah, it seems like, well, to me, Marvel stands out more of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, I don't blame DC. Wonder Woman's one of their key characters, and I'm assuming the way certain operations go, they didn't get approval of it to begin with. But I just wanted to, you know, I like my comic books to be political free. You know, I don't get into it. I'll get into a comic to get away from this junk.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
To
the
get away
world
from
junk.
the world.
Yeah.
Well, just like it got into football, now when
Yeah.
comics. You
Yeah.
know, it's, you know, let's just.
So I'm glad DC stood up and said, you know, not this time. So
Yeah. I agree with that.
anything you want to ask the professor?
I can't think of anything to stump him. Me and him talk a lot
Yeah.
about comics, and if there's anybody in this room that knows more about comic books than I do, it's definitely Terry.
Professor. First appearance of Squirrel Girl.
Don't get me on that one because I don't really care for the character. Sorry, anybody that does like the character, but
we
I would have to research.
we
that.
all have our hated characters.
Yeah.
The ones that we absolutely just love to hate. Professor's is Squirrel Girl.
Sorry to anybody that likes the character. Everybody's different. Everybody likes all this.
Mine would be
You know.
Aquaman.
Hey guys, I stumped him.
We got
I got that at the end of the.
Unworthy Thor.
Does that end my run now that I got stumped by that one?
No, you're good. You're good.
You worry, man.
We're not going to talk about Unworthy Thor. That
Come on. Tell us your true feelings here.
That was a pile of garbage.
I have to agree. I read the same series Mark did. I
But-
totally agree.
But didn't it start off good and then just
The first couple of issues were fantastic. I thought that it was going to be a great read all the way through, and then when you get to the end of it and that ending, I was mad for weeks about the way that ended. I swore that I would never read another Marvel comic. Of course, I broke that, but
yeah. Well, that's to me that's what the downfall to Marvel. First of all, how they done Captain America. I love that new run they start off with. The first 4 or 5 issues was amazing, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they just had so many petitions that they was too politically correct or what, but they changed up their whole writing, and
I'm sure something isn't.
it just got shot down the drain. And
somebody-
Captain America's never really dealt with magical beings, and that's more or less what they turned it into. And then they done the Immortal Hulk. I was so excited, and they brought him down to his, you know, the beginning of what he was. Yeah. But we thank you, Professor.
Well, getting back to the Squirrel thing, that was an unworthy question, I believe.
Your streak is still good.
Until next week.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. All right. Well, we're up.
I am shut down.
So, you want to do cover of the week, or you want to wait on that?
let's wait till the end to cover a week. Let's get this thing out of the way right here.
Well, to be honest, I was disappointed in both of them.
Well, I was too.
You got one of the key characters to Marvel,
Yeah.
especially after the movies, in Black Widow, and you've got, you know, Batman. 2 key characters to each, you know,
Yeah.
company. And I was disappointed.
I was thoroughly disappointed in both books. The Batman bounced around so much that I couldn't understand half of what was
You want to
going
start on that one first?
And then that was just bad from the start all the way through. The best part in that is the cover and Stan's soapbox.
Well, see, I didn't even read the soapbox. I was just. Well, we'll start here. We'll put that up there. Can you see that? All right, like I say, the cover is beautiful. You open it up, the artwork sucked.
Yeah. I gave it a 3.
Well, you're nice, because I'm thinking 2 at the highest, and that's me being nice. Storyline wasn't no better. I kept waiting to get reeled into it. I really did. Every page I turned, I'm waiting on Black Widow to do something that would drag me into it. I turned that last page and realized that I hadn't got dragged into it.
I was drug into something, but it wasn't the storyline.
Yeah, it was terrible. It's hard to review a book like that, because deep down, like I say, it's being a key staple to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give some kind of credit, and I can't.
The cover's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's Battle Lines variant, and the cover is absolutely gorgeous. If you're collecting the Battle Lines, make sure that you pick that book up, because the cover is worth having in your collection. But do yourself a favor, bag and board it, send it off to be graded, whatever you're going to do. Don't read that.
Because it will disappoint you. It made me see her in a whole different way.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite characters in the movies. Reading that, she wasn't the assassin. She was like a broken shell,
Yeah.
and it's only number 5,
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't like something major could have happened that broke her that bad.
Yeah.
But like I say, yeah, I hate reading it. We finally found one that we just couldn't give nothing to.
The character has a tremendous amount of potential.
Yeah.
Tremendous amount of potential. That was nowhere close to lived up to in that issue.
No. And even at the end, when she was talking to another Avenger, their play back and forth could have been better.
Yeah.
After what she's supposed to be had done, and it was just like two strangers, passing each other in the hallway. I mean, what it felt like. They did talk, but it wasn't nothing. I don't recommend it by no means.
The only amount of emotion I felt in the book was when she gave the gift to the little girl.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, but it really didn't. There wasn't that. This wasn't like, oh, it was like, well, finally something.
Yeah.
To be able to say something. But yeah, I give it all around a 3, both artwork and combined.
I'll give the artwork a 3. I'll give the story a 2.5.
Well, sadly, moving on to the Batman. It ain't gonna get much better.
Again, a beautiful cover. One of my favorite characters. Just not this book.
Yeah. Well, you want to start that off?
You don't know what's reality and what's not. And it may have been because we didn't read the first part of this particular storyline. But
Because we're jumping in on what number is that?
it's part 2.
Part 2.
And you would think at part 2 you could kind of pick up and move on with the story, but not this one, because I was just as confused when I ended it as I was when I started it. It does have the first appearance of the red bat signal. So it will want to.
But I agree. something happened and you're like, okay, what happened there?
I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Well, it's characters that we,
Yeah.
that's close to us that we want to keep up with, but you can't.
No.
The storyline, I'm gonna say a 5. Like I said, it did draw me in, and then it pushed me away. So I can't give it. I want to be fair with that. The favorite part, and I won't go ahead and throw a spoiler out there because the book ain't worth the crap anyways. Best part of it is they're trying to round up some people to help out, and they get to Jason Todd. And Jason says, just tell Batman I got a brand new crowbar and I'm waiting to stick it up his.
Yeah.
Woohoo! So that's the best part of the book.
It really was, and that's sad.
And I laughed at that part, and that was it. No emotion to it.
It was a flat read.
Yeah.
It was a flat read from start to finish.
Yeah.
And you kept expecting it to pick up at some point, but it never does.
Yeah, you wanted it to pick up. Again, it could be where that's one of our characters, but you kept waiting and waiting and waiting. Knowing it's got to be better. It's got to be better. Yep. No. It wasn't.
The writer on this book says that he's going to change Batman for a generation. I hope that this is not the change that he's talking about.
Now, David, are you keeping up with this run?
Yeah.
Was they that big of a difference in the number 1 that we should have known to get to the number 2? Because, like I say, the number 2 shouldn't have left you that far behind.
No, I agree with you on the jumping around.
Come back over here where we
Yeah,
can
come
hear
over
you.
here. Again, David is Batman's one of his main characters. It's been his favorite character ever since Adam West. So he's kind of our Batman expert.
Okay. Second issue, this one that you've got here, 71. If you had read the first issue, you would know where the jumping kind of comes from. It's a scrambled situation that they're in.
Well, you haven't read this one, have you?
I've not. That one
Okay,
just
so
came out.
so you're not really.
The last, like I
Yeah.
said, it's a hectic situation that they're in. Trying to get help, he's trying to pull everybody together, and So I'm assuming that the way the last one is going, that this one is trying to. There's so much going on that it's trying to show you every little thing that's going on, and you're jumping from this point to this point, back here to this point, and it's trying to encompass everything. It's trying to do too much.
Well, and I don't want to give away a spoiler because it's part of your run, but it's just jumping in 2 different places.
Yeah.
But the 2 different places ain't making a bit of sense on this second one, and it should. For the second part of a run, it should.
Yeah. The first, like I said, the last issue that I read is more of a, it's getting hectic, and like you said, going from point to point. And I think, just from what I gathered, the last one, like I said, I haven't got this one yet because this is the new one. I can see the writer struggling, trying to tell too much.
Well, with the review that we gave, and we try to give, even if it's a crappy review, we try to be honest and, try to give a thorough review to it. With the review that we gave, and the way the last one left off, does that one seem to make sense?
I will read it and I can let you know
Yeah.
what you have said from them trying to get things in. Things have happened. Do either of you keep up with this storyline?
I don't.
Okay. There are things that have happened up to this point that have burned a lot of bridges and things that are going on. And without giving away things to somebody coming into the book fresh, Batman's in a rough spot. And
Well, yeah, we can, you
can
can tell by that.
normally the people that he relies on to help are not all there. And
Yeah.
they're not going to be there for him. As you stated with the Jason Todd comment there.
Yeah, and you know, with Dick Grayson now being Rick Grayson after being shot in the head by KGB Beast, he wasn't able to show up in the book. Jason is just not going to come to his aid at all because of the bridges that were burned.
Oh yeah,
there.
they major bridges burned there.
The-
And a few characters was so far away that they couldn't make it in the time.
some of the other major characters are still going to be there for him in this book. I'm not going to give away a lot, but the younger.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did you notice that there was more the younger
Yeah.
group that
Yeah.
Batman hadn't really pushed away yet?
And like I said, it's the story that the writer is trying to get into. From what I've been reading up to this point, it's almost like he's getting in over his head, and
Kind of bite off more than you chew.
trying to tell more of a story than he is capable of doing at this moment.
But we know with issue 50, and it's no spoiler at this point,
Right.
that Bane was behind what happened with Catwoman basically leaving him at the altar.
Well,
And
actually, they both jumped off the side of the building, so it wasn't just Catwoman. They both, because you had Selena being told certain things, or you also had Bruce being told certain things, and so they
Yeah,
both.
but Bane
just-
was behind.
He was behind all.
I mean, he wasn't all the blame, but
Right.
he was. In Batman's eyes, he's the one that was.
Yeah, and that's who he's been. Other things have been going on with Bane pulling the strings, and kind of goes back to some of the earlier works where Bane would be trying to break Batman again and just run him so far down
Yeah.
that by the time that Bane got to him, physically and mentally, Batman was shot.
yeah, but that story's already been told.
It has, and that's what I'm saying. This writer,
Yeah, and with that knowing that story and going
Yeah.
into that, it still
Yeah.
was confusing.
and it's like he's like, I'm going this way. No, I'm not. Let's go this way. Rein it back a little bit and try to go. It's he can't.
So it wasn't just this issue.
No,
the
no.
next
It's
issue.
been the
okay.
last few have
Okay.
been not really a set direction for the character. And I was like you in reading what that it was going to be changed for a whole new.
Now, is it a new writer that had came in on this here recently, or is it somebody's picked him up since?
He's been on the last few issues.
Yeah, he's been.
Oh,
on
okay.
I can't remember exactly how many issues now, but
And I
it's
understand
the current writer.
when you take a classic character like Batman and you try to move him in a different direction, that there's a lot of story that has to be told. But take your time to tell it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he's rushing to get to that change.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to make him his too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not letting everything develop, and he's not telling a smooth, cohesive story. You've got, we all know reading books. You've got your entry that you come in, and then you got a peak,
Yeah.
and then you'll have more character exposition, and then at the end you got your big wow to set you up for the next book, to get you coming back again. This one has been like a defibrillator readout.
Yeah.
Up and down, just not not a smooth ride like we normally like to see. And like I said, it's not been this issue or just this issue that you guys read, but it has been.
So it's been struggling for a while.
Yeah, it's, there's been some good stories from issue 50 up to now.
So with all this going on, there's light at the end, or hope at the end of the tunnel that he's going to make it his own and be able to do what he needs to
If
do.
he can rein everything in
Yeah.
and get everything, all of his tracks, laid out straight, and the train going in one direction instead of pulling a car and parking it here, and
Because he don't seem like a terrible rider.
He don't seem like a real good one.
Well,
At this point.
At this point, no. But there's like I said, there's glimpses of stuff that you can tell he ain't bad. He like one. But he's got a long way to go. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
he like I said, it's like he's struggling too hard to make it his own, and he's not letting the story follow its own course.
So you think he's going to bring it all full circle in the end
Yeah,
to make all of this jumbled up mess make sense?
yeah.
So he's trying to figure and do something that should be done in a year, done in
And to say,
a couple months.
yeah, that's what it feels like. It's being rushed, and he's not taking the time that. And it may not be him. It may be the higher ups pushing him. We want this done by this time. But my feeling is he has bitten off more than he can chew, and he's not giving himself enough leeway.
Well, that could fall into the category we talked about earlier. That thin line between confidence and cocky.
Yeah.
He might have went in thinking he was confident, and turned out he was cocky, and it just ain't working out for him.
Yeah.
Don't know. That's just speculation, but
Yeah.
it seems like a good possibility.
And we're not going to know till it gets to that pivotal point where everything is going to hit at one time.
Yeah.
Now, you've been reading the story up to this point, and we're not going to give away a whole lot about 71. But is Thomas Wayne really back in the picture again, or is it Batman losing his mind?
No, this is the way it's been written. He is back, but he is not the same Thomas Wayne that you would remember.
From like Flashpoint.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. A lot of times in the Batman stories, Thomas Wayne was this kind, caring, considerate type person. Do everything for his city. Always giving handouts, helping people. This is not that Thomas Wayne. This is a Thomas Wayne that has pushed from the background Bruce to become the character he is now.
So are we looking at kind of like what they did with Jor-El in the Superman books, just before
Very similar.
Bendis took over? That whole push with
The bad dad is what that again another story that has been told, not his own.
Yeah.
But that is the way it's leading. He is, has said he's been orchestrating everything from the background.
Well, it sounds like he's getting ready to dig a hole for himself, and somebody else going to have to take over.
Let's hope not another reboot.
Yeah.
But if he takes his time and slows the story down, if they can give him a chance,
Now, who's the writer on it?
you would have to ask me that, and I've drawn a blank.
You going to have it on there?
No, it's got it. Is that Janin? I'm guessing Janin.
Have you heard anything what the stuff he might have done? Terry?
Yeah.
Janin, Janin, as a writer, do you know anything kind of works he's done?
Janin?
Yeah.
Michael Janin? First name?
He's doing the Batman run now.
He did World Jokes and Riddles, I believe, a while back.
Was it any good?
It was pretty good, I thought.
Well, if it's the same one, then it might be okay.
Like I said, it's, and again, this is just my opinion on what I'm getting out of the reading. Is that because parts of everything coming up to this point have been good. It just seems rushed.
All right. Well, we won't take much more time on that one, but to jump in on it, I don't recommend it. If you've been following it, I hope it.
I would back up. If you can do it, back up to issue 51
Okay.
and start from there.
Well, David, we appreciate you coming back, filling us in on it.
Not a problem. Anytime you got a question.
All right.
Now it's time for cover of the week.
Awesome.
Amazing Spider-Man.
And that one kind of got picked for us, didn't it?
Yes, my lovely wife went through and she looked at all the covers variant and otherwise. Now, Superman almost beat this one out in her mind,
Oh, really?
and it was the A cover that she thought was almost better than
Oh,
this
wow.
one.
That's the first. That's the original cover.
Yeah.
The A cover. Yeah.
But this is the one that she sent me with. This is the one that she said.
Well, she's got good taste.
Yeah.
Because I went ahead and got. And that would be the cover I devoted on for this upcoming week. So I'm tickled with it. You know, it's good. It's a beautiful cover.
And that's not taking anything away from the Teen Titans cover this time out, because it had Speedy on the cover, and it was a beautiful cover too. But
Well, the A cover of it was pretty good
yeah,
because you got Lobo, or not Lobo, but you got Roundhouse. You got all the characters gathered around.
yeah,
But I'm excited for Teen Titans because you got Lobo meeting. Listen here, you Black Hammer. The way you talk big, and you got to. But anyways, Lobo meeting his daughter for the first time.
Yeah.
Crush. So
that may be one that we review when it comes out.
Yeah.
We've been avoiding the Teen Titans because of the Terminus agenda, and we're going to try to do it as a whole
yeah.
for y'all here soon. As soon as it's over with, we'll
so that'll
do a
be in there
review on
with it. So.
And hopefully, if it's like every other Deathstroke Teen Titans crossover that I've ever read, it's going to be fantastic.
Well, it's got to be better than what we've done this week.
Yeah,
We have talked several times. You know, we're waiting on that one bad comic. So far, we hadn't ran into it. Last week, you know, trying to do the
classic.
Really didn't know what to do. You know, we didn't have nothing to compare it to. You know, nothing coming out. It's already been out. Not taking nothing away from it, but it was just a hard review.
It was, and it was a good book,
Yeah, a really good book.
but it was hard to review because how do you compare a classic to a modern?
yeah.
I mean, it's like, you know, comparing a Mustang
Well,
and a Pinto.
yeah. Well, the technology has come so far to where they could do certain things with the characters and the artwork and everything that they didn't have back then. So to compare them together, it's just unfair.
Yeah.
You know, my opinion, they should have both won because of their genre, their era. But yeah, I don't recommend either one. The cover on the Black Widow, pick it up. Like it says, do yourself a favor, don't crack it open. But well, that leads us to our giveaway. Or are we done?
Yeah.
Okay. I had posted on Facebook that we would have a giveaway, a contest, and whoever has the most people that will subscribe to the Rednecks on Comics. Once they subscribe, they need to drop your name into the link or the description down below. That's what it's called. The comments down below. I'm tech literate, but have them drop your name. We're going to run this through 4 issues or episodes. Whoever gets the most people to subscribe and drop your name down below will win. And this is what you win. First off, we got the trade of the Infinity Gauntlet. This all came from my personal collection, so it's well taken care of. Trade's not been wrapped, but that's a solid 8, ain't it?
Yeah.
So we'll say 8 there. You'll get the True Believers Infinity War. Read once, put back in the package. So you're looking at at least a 9. Cosmic Ghost Rider, number 1. Hadn't ever been out of package.
It's a good story.
I thought about getting the whole run. I didn't end up with it. Lost interest in it. So that'd be a perfect item. Howard the Duck, number 10.
Yep.
30 center, classic, good classic. Good what? 7.5.
Yeah.
Good 7.5 issue. This is a one-shot. The Superior Octopus. Really good read. Like again, it's a one-shot. Don't need the character never even take off, did they? After the one-shot, it was just one shot and it was done.
Yeah, he was at Never Center for a while.
Oh, was it? Okay. But it is a really good read. And last but not least, an unopened rock candy mantis. Very beautiful little figure. But all of it goes to the winner with the person that gets the most subscribers. We're trying to build this up. We will be having other giveaways as time goes on. We're going to try for monthly or
Maybe bi-monthly.
bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Again, it ain't going to be like this. It'll just be a comic book here and there or a little figure or something. That kind of gets expensive on us. But for our first giveaway, we wanted to go all out. Don't forget, Dragon's Mountain Comic Con, June 8th and 9th. We're going to have several.
Albert Morales has been sending me kind of snapshots of some of the new art that he's been doing, and there he has one that is just beautiful. It's a Spawn versus Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
And he's also doing, well, Batman is going to be our.
Yeah, last year it was Superman because
Yeah.
we hit the 1,000 mark on Action Comics.
Yeah.
This year we hit the 1,000 mark on Detective Comics.
Mhm.
So he's going to do is it going to be in the chibi style that
I'm not 100% sure. He hadn't gave me a preview on that one yet.
All right.
I'm
So
excited
it's going
to
to
see
be
it.
new to us too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. And if you haven't seen any of Albert's work, go on Facebook and check him out.
Angry Rooster Studios,
One of the best artists personally that I've seen in a long time.
and just a super nice guy.
He is, yeah. He'd fit in good with this crowd.
Yeah.
From the first time meeting him last year, it's just like I've known him forever. What else was there? Oh, if you would like to be a sponsor to the Comic Con, we got several different packages available. I'll post them on the website, Facebook website, Rednecks on Comics. Help bringing something to the community really needs.
Yeah.
If you don't know nothing about Mountain City, we're just a little hole in the wall. We need to bring something for the kids here. We think this is one of the best things that could be here. Support your local comic shops.
Definitely. Don't buy from eBay unless you just have to. Go to somebody local. Support your local business, because you just don't really understand how hard it is to keep a little shop up and running.
Yeah,
like
well,
this.
a lot of people, it's so much cheaper online. Yeah, but, you actually going somewhere, meeting somebody in person. And I love being able to talk to Terry, Jonathan, even Tech Guy, Cody, talk to them, and you can't do that on eBay.
No.
I like that one-on-one conversation about it. Get excited about your comics.
And a lot more shops are starting to do the same way that I do. As the books come in, they're inspected, they're bagged, they're boarded. You know that they're good quality when you get them.
And in all honesty, some of the shops don't take care of their stuff like y'all do. I understand that, and I understand people want to have, but again, get on to them. Go to your local comic shop, say, hey, we want to be here. Show us a little bit of respect, we'll be here. But don't give up on them. Like I say, it's hard for them to keep open. So, yeah, that was funny. But you tried. I was proud of you trying. Okay, it's a little funny. But anyways, thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a good one.